AJ.
Huh.
It's been hot as shit.
Has.
Yeah, it still is.
Is.
Like when you wake up in the morning, like say I go to the gym in the morning, right? And it's
okay.
always the
I see it in your traps.
Stop it. Knock it off. And when you like when you leave a place where you get hot, but then go outside and it's still hot. That's too hot. Like that's.
Look, I'm the type that doesn't get hot very easily, right?
No.
My people's from the equator, so we used to hot. But this hot, funny, I was having a conversation with my mom the other day, and I was out in the sun, and I tan super easy. Like, I can be outside in 10 minutes, I am a significantly darker shade, which love that for me, right?
Like the Hot Wheels car with the warm water.
Oh,
just
yeah, that was me.
colors.
That was me. That was me, 100%. You know, you just dip me in some sun, and all of a sudden I come out, and I'm chocolatier than before. But my mom and I were laughing because I had been outside doing something, and I was outside for a while. And then when I went to go see her, she opened the door. She was like, "Ooh, you look navy blue." And I started laughing, and I was like, if this was anybody else, I'd feel offended. But this is my mother, so I know what she means.
I know what you, yeah.
Yeah, and then from that conversation, we started talking about how, for whatever reason, after we left Kenya, we get darker with this American sun. So, like, I have cousins who are very light-skinned, and they're out in the sun all the time, and they don't seem to get darker. Now that we've moved out of Kenya and we're living in the States, like, I can go outside and be in the sun for 15 minutes, and I'm significantly darker. Or even when I go back to Kenya and I'm out and about with my cousins, like, I come back to the States, and I am mad dark. She's like, that didn't used to happen before. She was like, or even now, she has to wear a hat when she goes back home because the sun is too hard on her head.
Y'all got that Krypton sun.
Yeah, and she's like, I never had that issue before, and I lived there for like the majority of my life. And she's like, what happens now? I was like, white supremacists got us, Ma. This is the white supremacist sun. This ain't no African.
Right.
This ain't no African sun.
Right.
This sun has been receiving these rays through the lens of racism.
Right.
So,
transcontinental rays.
Anyway.
So, let's get on with the show.
Well, before that.
Oh, all right. That's what's up.
Yeah, before that. Okay, real quick. Battle fatigue, come closer. Listener, scooch in a little bit. We need to have a conversation. Real quick. So battle fatigue is a space. Sultan is actually moving it closer. Battle fatigue is a space for Black people to be Black. We know that, right? It's a safe space for Blacks. Thank you. Right? And also, because Black people are dealing with other people dealing with our Blackness, the way that we engage with Blackness and the way other people engage with Blackness is vastly different. Battle fatigue is not we are going to respond to the news every time, because also battle fatigue likes to center Black joy as much as possible.
As much as possible.
That being said, we are recording this on August 8th, and the news of the arrests of people who conspired to kill Breonna Taylor was announced like over the weekend. We, as in Sultan and I, would like to acknowledge that, yes, while we are happy that people are going to be held accountable for the death of Breonna Taylor, that's not to say that like Black people haven't been saying this since 2020 when the shit went down, that it was all some sort of conspiracy or whatever else. So, yes, Sultan and I are feeling a lot of feelings that come with, and obviously you gonna speak for yourself, right? Like you and I are feeling a lot of feelings that are coming up from basically being like, yeah, we told you so, and this Black woman didn't have to die. And yes, there are definitely people who conspire against Black people, especially when you bring in like gentrification and all of that.
Right.
So process how you want to process. Who knows? By the time this episode comes out, a lot of things will have changed. So what we want to do, at least for me, what I would like to do is, yes, acknowledge this moment and also still focus on Black joy, because there's going to be a lot of think pieces. There's going to be a lot of news, or they're just not even going to talk about the fact that there's this conspiracy around housing and removing people of color to gentrify neighborhoods. So for Black people, I know like we tend to weave in the things that we are dealing with in our everyday life. For example, in the last Great Debates episode, when we were talking about Martian Manhunter, Sultan and I literally had a whole conversation about why John may have picked a Black body and how that ties into Black trauma. And that was off of a fictional animated character.
Right.
So you can only imagine like what conversations are happening within Black households, Black communities about this Breonna Taylor thing, and the like feeling of I told you so, and it didn't even have to be all of this added into that. So although, you know, battle fatigue definitely is a space for Black people, we also want to be reprieve for Black people. Because I know I'm tired of hearing about all of the times that Black women, Black people, Black queer folk have been right, and y'all just didn't listen. And then there's another situation that's similar and nobody listens anyway. So yeah, battle fatigue, sometimes we will talk about the shit that's going on in the world. And other times, I don't have the capacity for it. I don't have the capacity to carry another load of trauma on top of the stuff that I'm already dealing with. So I wanted to put that disclaimer out for me personally. And Sultan, you know, I don't like to speak for you, even though I do like to speak for you because I think you're very attractive. And I don't know. I'm just letting my brain go. And also, you just looked right at me, and it shook me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes when I get the full force of you know your attention, it throws me off. It throws me off. But that is battle fatigue. So anyway, so you do the thing, and then we can get started with whatever it is that we were planning on talking about.
Support Black women because Sultan is attractive. Like it just does not go together.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
But
I'm okay
that's what's
with
up. No, 100% co-sign. I was
all
like,
of it?
co-stand, co-op, what is the code?
You co-sign the attractive part.
Co-sign. No, I'm co-signing what battle fatigue is, what it stands for, and what we be about, which as often as possible truly is about Black joy. We process the things, we process the traumas, we talk about them, we talk about the history, we talk about each other, and then as much as we can, we get to the joy. Because while the show is called Battle Fatigue, and sometimes that is how we enter, we do like to find our way to the joy. And that is how you make it out of battle fatigue, by finding those pockets of joy. So that's what we're going to do today.
Start the show.
So for those brand new, under a rock, first time, second time, anytime, my name is Dalin, and across from me is the wonderfully Black, wonderfully woman, AJ.
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman.
We're in a sing-songy mood today.
That
and
spin,
by we, I mean me.
that spin was that spin she does. Like,
Oh.
It was very early editing. Super early editing. Whenever they would have those, I used to watch some of those scenes, like just to see, like, oh wow, they didn't care.
It's not that they didn't care. That was the best they could do.
No, they didn't care.
They didn't care. They may not have had the technology for it, but y'all didn't care.
People were very much seeing the cuts of that and was like, good enough.
Yeah, that boy good.
We're a weekly show. Wonder Woman.
That boy good. Yeah, good and terrible. So, okay, we are low-key speaking in like movie quotes because that is what our Black joy is going to be today. So Sultan and I have a lot of conversations outside of this podcast because friends. And one of the things that we realized was really key to our upbringing, to our everyday life, to survival, is Black movies.
Oh, yeah.
And we had the difficult task of narrowing it down to 2 Black movies apiece.
I just pick 2, like, because it definitely wasn't gonna be like, what's the top 2? It was like, they're all top 2.
No. Because also it depends on my mood. My top 2 when I'm sad and my top 2 when I'm happy are 2 completely different.
My top 2 because it's Tuesday, you know.
Right. So we were just like, let's just pick two movies off the top of our head that we know a good amount of the words to and also have been influential in one way or the other.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have a conversation about either why we still rock with those movies or now as an adult.
Yeah, right.
As an adult who goes to therapy.
The math ain't mathin'.
This
no
is
more
not the way that we should
this
have gone
movie.
about this. So, yeah, to offset all of the BS that is happening in the world right now, we are going to critique Black movies as a way to function and process our own emotions. Okay,
Absolutely.
Sultan, what are your 2 Black movies? Oh, and wait, we're Black people. What are your 2 movies?
Right, like you don't go to China to get some Chinese food. You know what I mean? You just get some
Yeah,
food.
no, I'm getting food. What are your movies?
My movies. So today I wanted to highlight Boomerang
Okay.
and the first Bad Boys.
Bad boys. Bad
Yeah.
boys.
What you got?
Okay. I'm gonna go in a funny and vastly different direction. I'm going to my two are Love and Basketball because of course,
Okay, romance, rom-com.
and Soul Food.
Okay,
because-
family.
Yeah.
Family
I like
down there, okay.
that between the two of us we have like rounded off
covered
a
the
really
spectrum.
good
Yeah.
gamut of
Yeah.
movies.
But all comedy. Well,
comedy.
no, Love and Basketball is. I think they were
That
like,
was-
this wasn't supposed to be funny, haha.
No, but like black people laugh because trauma. That is true. Love and Basketball is not a funny movie, but do
It's
I
not.
laugh? Absolutely.
But there are some laughs.
There
It's
are.
got some laughs.
Soul Food, I don't think is also not supposed to be a funny movie.
No.
But I
when
call it a dramedy.
It is a dramedy. I would give it dramedy.
Yeah.
Like more draw than the
D.
Eddie, but yeah.
Boomerang. How would you describe Boomerang? Let's say
Man.
we have a person who maybe did not grow up in a typical black household and maybe did not catch Boomerang. How would you describe Boomerang?
So here's the thing about Boomerang, because Boomerang came out when I was but a mere young one.
A wee child.
My mother used to, because we had HBO. HBO was, I think it was an HBO, Showtime, Cinemax, and that pretty much was like the big three, right? And for the premium cable channels, the movie channels, and my mother had HBO, and a thing that she did a lot was, in seeing the schedule, she would record the movies on, have them on the VHS. So we used to have like stacks of VHSs, and there was a lot of opportunity here for me because during the summertime I would be at home by myself, and while she would be at
boy.
work, and so that.
You turned into a film critic.
Check, bruh. Let me tell you something. People talk about like movies and when we saw them and how you came. And for me, it was just like from 8, from like 8 to 14. It was just them VHS tapes. Now I would never know when she would record a thing. Like, and I didn't ever say just like, hey, mom, I saw that Menace to Society was dropping this Friday.
Can you record that? Can you catch that on VHS for me?
I didn't know if maybe you might be interested in the. I'm not.
No, I would never.
He-Man all the way, But
This is not for children.
just saying, maybe, I'm an Autobots roll out, but if you,
Not Autobots. Yo,
So, but yeah,
Decepticons.
she recorded this shit. Actually, fun fact: I saw Menace to Society with my mother and my cousin and her son because they were gonna go see Menace to Society. We were supposed to go see Dennis the Menace, but when we got there, nobody did their homework. I guess when we got there, they realized that Dennis the Menace was going to be over a good 40-ish minutes before Menace to Society was. And they were like, nah,
We just gonna go with y'all.
just come to the, and they just made it, they're like, nah, we won't, because they didn't want us to be sitting out, sitting outside waiting for that long. I guess who knows. So we saw Menace to Society. And instead of Dennis the Menace, we traded 1 minute for the other minutes.
Really though.
So yeah, right?
Really though.
Like that just hit, like first time ever that just hit me.
They were like, we're not trying to have you be white menaces. You're gonna be a black menace. Come on.
Menace to Menace, right.
Come on over here.
Yeah, it was, great film.
Damn, I just thought of like a whole sociological critique just off of that one sentence.
Shit.
Sorry.
Shit.
I'm just saying, like, Dennis the Menace, little white boy, he's an individual.
Yeah.
The whole individuality of like white America.
Yeah.
Whereas like black people as a unit are seen as menaces to literally society. So it's like no matter where you are as a black person, no matter how you identify, no matter what your like status is, you could be a Barack Obama, but still somebody's gonna think of you as a menace to society.
There
But
it is.
Dennis the Menace literally goes around breaking shit, and we're like, look at the cute little white boy.
Privilege.
Wild. Anyway, so how do
you
you
go.
describe Boomerang?
So how would I describe Boomerang? Boomerang is, it's definitely a comedy to me. You have it's full of comedians. You've got Eddie Murphy, of course, right at the top.
course.
You've got David Allen Greer.
Classic.
Right. That's just classic in living color. You know what I mean? Like
That's old school black humor.
old school. And Eddie Murphy, of course, had Raw, had Delirious. Got
course.
his start.
That,
hard
that
in the
beautiful red outfit.
the leather. I'm like,
I
bro,
mean, my
I know
man
you
was like,
hot.
what y'all gonna
I
catch
know
is
you
this
hot.
style. when you wear red leather, black leather is one thing because you're making a statement. But when you add
Yeah.
like color
Yeah.
leather
The
on a
candy
stage with all
apple.
them lights and that thick
Candy
ass
apple
coat,
leather. Yeah. He
nah,
knew.
he knew. He
He
knew.
knew
He
what
was
he was
not wearing
doing.
nothing under that
He knew
outfit.
what
My
he was
man's was
doing.
drenched
Yeah, no,
sweating
for real.
when he got off the stage.
And Martin Lawrence,
Ugh, heavy
Def
hitters,
Jam, you know what I
heavy
mean?
hitters.
Martin, like, I mean, the hitters was in it, on top of Eartha Kitt. Oh, Chris Rock was in it. You know what I mean? Like, he was fucking Boney T.
Which is such a
Which
good character for him.
right. Because when you look at some of the early, it's like actors black actors who now, like all respect and flowers on the name. Then it was, they'd word homeless or were doing drugs or like all of crackheads, all that kind of shit. And because that was all that was available for them to be, on screen, which is utter garbage and an episode for another day. But but then of course we also had Tisha Campbell. We also had Holly Berry. We also had Robin Givens. We also had Grace Jones. We also had Jeffrey Holder. Like all of these
It's
people.
like just the black Hollywood. And it's like, yeah, I know I just said we're black people and we should just call it, but it's like there really is a vast difference in all those people who are like household names to us. They're like black people famous, but like regular famous, they don't kind of get to the same spot.
Right.
Okay, so what was the plot? What was the plot of Boomerang?
So Boomerang, the thing about Boomerang and the reason that I chose it is because it's this movie of all these black professionals doing executive things and high, what's the word? Like high class, like marketing, branding, dealing with like celebrities, models, and they made money and there was fashion and it was the music and everything about it was just like, yeah, they tried to tell us that we can't be, and yet look at us. You know what I mean? So, and they were just successful. It just screams everybody in their own right was just successful as shit. Everybody who was at the table for a reason. Nobody was confused as to, I don't know why I'm here. Everybody knew.
I love that.
You know what I mean? Like everybody knew why they were there and showed it. You know what I mean? And that was like the whole thing with Marcus. Marcus Graham. So the movie is about, this Marcus Graham, Eddie Murphy's character. He's, this playboy and but he's a successful, this marketing executive, and he comes into this company where there are a lot of women and, there's the stares and such because it's a new person, but also because it's, Eddie Murphy walking in with his candy apple red leather energy. Because that's pretty much just how he came into all his movies.
Yep.
Until Pluto Nash, and we won't talk about Pluto Nash. Actually, we won't talk about Pluto Nash.
No.
So
leave Pluto where Pluto be.
So yeah, and he's always had success based off of his talents as a marketing executive and also his charm, his good looks, like that kind of thing. I mean, he just had it, like, suavemente, like type of shit. But he meets his match in Robin Givens' character, who was Jacqueline Boyer. She was like the woman version of him. And so now you got this kind of tit for tat thing happening, and she's actually better at it than he is. And he doesn't realize that's what's going on. You know what I mean? He doesn't realize that's what's going on. But then you have, he's got his best friends, played by David Lanning Greer and Martin Lawrence. And that's where you get to see some of this movie also showed like that black male friendships and how they come together from the varied backgrounds. Because the other two, like they weren't, I think Gerard's character was a teacher, I think. I don't know. I don't even know what Martin Lawrence's character did. I don't know what he did. He was because it was Gerard and Tyler, but I think Gerard was a teacher, but I don't know what Tyler. I think Tyler was like Tommy, like he had a job, but like nobody he also really didn't have no job.
What it was.
But yeah, so you also had that like black male friendship of like varied backgrounds that somehow came together and found those commonalities to maintain the friendship through like varied successes and there's a lot of conversations there, even down to when because Gerard had a crush on Holly Berry's character, Angela, who was also a teacher. She was like a middle school teacher.
There's always an Angela.
There's always an Angela.
There's always an Angela.
There's always like a Jacqueline, and there's always like an Angela, and like somehow you just getting pulled in between the two, and like which one do you, you know? Well, I found it more often than not with movies, like they have you end up with the Angelas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that felt so. Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah.
I felt so just like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
I love black people when we talk. We just had a whole conversation off of
Yeah, for
nah.
real. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nah.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
You right. You right.
So much was said off of nothing being said. Yo, because the whole time I was like, nah, I get what you're saying. Nah, yeah. No, we do always end up.
Right.
Bless it.
So there was a scenario where Marcus sleeps with Angela, and this is and again, just to break, because you asked what the movie's about. It's about a guy who is really good at what he does and knows he's good at what he does, meets his match, and then has to go through the process of navigating friendships and all the attention that he gets from this new company, and also the things that he realizes when he's now mirrored with this other person, and the battle that ensues.
I am an asshole.
Yeah, that leads to his eventual revelation that, I should take it down a notch in my life and maybe like reevaluate and grow and fucking learn. So so that's that. There was a lot of, for him at the end, I think there's a little bit of growth, or at least awareness. I'd say there was awareness. He gained awareness by the end, which can be a form of growth, but like how much he actually grew, who knows? There wasn't a Boomerang 2. So we'll never know. But do
you pull one-liners out of Boomerang?
I don't. I more than anything, it was really just the one. And I think everybody, like a lot of people know, but it was John Witherspoon who played Gerard's father. Because he came over and because two things from him was because he talked about the clothes that he wore when they came over to Marcus's place. Was it Gerard's or Marcus? Anyway, they came to a place and because they were all meeting to cook and like eat or whatever. And he had this like funky outfit. And he was like, you got to coordinate.
Well, the secret is you got to coordinate. Most people don't coordinate. So you got to coordinate. Yes,
and that's that. You heard that like a Ludacris song, and like everybody like talking, coordinate.
Gotta coordinate.
And then when he talks about his wife and how they were getting the things on and such, and that the bang, like that shit. Yeah. I don't say that as much, but you know it. You know it's in your head. One of those iconic lines that you just know exactly where they're from. But yeah, this movie for me was more about being able to visualize what success looks like from the perspective and through the lens of Blackness, and then also what like how good Black males can be and look in an element, like in their element. And it's like, okay, all right, I see you, success. Tone down the narcissism, but I see you. And also friendship, because it just goes to show that like you don't have to be everybody doesn't have to be from the same cut. Everybody doesn't have to be from, the same neighborhood. And sometimes you are, like, movies like The Wood, like they was all from the same hood, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of an eye opener for me. As I've seen it like throughout the years, you pick up more and more as like an 8 or 9 year old.
You're like, I like his jacket.
It was more like, I'm not supposed to be watching this.
Ooh, he said a bad word.
Right.
I heard it.
But yeah, let's touch on it. You said Love and Basketball and Soul Food. Give me Love and Basketball is also iconic for a number of reasons. What is it about Love and Basketball for you?
A couple things, I think. One, I think Love and Basketball was the first like Black movie I watched when I moved to the to the States.
Okay.
And my older stepbrother played basketball. And so, like I would see him and his girlfriends after I watched Love and Basketball, and I'd be like, ugh, are you treating her like that? Like, are you? But also at that time, like I was too young to really understand how toxic whole movie was. Like, everybody needed to go to therapy. Yeah. The only person that I did not have a problem with was Monica's sister, Lena. Like, she was the only one that was, like, semi-normal. And the dad, kind of, sort of, but not really. Because he also was, like... He had some willful ignorance to him. But there was something about Lena in the way that she fully supported her sister that I always got down with. And I think that piece hit me differently because I always wanted siblings. Like, I'm not built to be an only child. I'm built to be an only child because of the life that my mom and I had to live. And, like, it was necessary for me to be an only child. But, like, I don't think I am an only child type person. Like, I love the idea of having siblings, but I also think it's because, like, I've never had siblings. I have a bunch of, like, sibling type cousins. Yeah. But now that I live in America, like, I don't even see them guys but once every 2-3 years, if even that. Yeah. So there was something about that. But
I feel that.
When I was younger, I really loved how, like, about her shit Monica was when it came to basketball, how she wanted to present in similar ways that, Q got to present. But as an adult watching this movie, I was like, this is so bad. There's been a couple movies that I've watched recently that I'm like, oh, this is horrible. Like, you said that? We can't say that anymore. I can't believe you said that. But I definitely pull one-liners from Love and Basketball more than anything else. The beginning opening scene, that's how I got introduced to Al Green, Love and Happiness, right? I was like, oh, what is this? I was like, okay. Who is this man, Al? He can sing. Right? And so I think that also was my introduction to, like, old school music, But I liked what is her name? Kyla Pratt. So sorry, Miss Pratt.
young Pratt.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, Miss Pratt. But, like, I liked her introduction as Monica. I like that she still showed him up even though Q then pushed her to the ground because he couldn't handle losing.
Masculinity.
Yeah, but then when you got to see his dad, you're like, oh, I understand why you're a little shit. Yeah. Also, the dad being, like, just cheating on the mom when she threw the bracelet at him. She's like, do I get a minute of your time yet? I was like, that's right, you better throw that gold bracelet. Throw that gold bracelet at him. Pick it back up and throw it at him again. Or, like, the girls always being all up on Q and the mom being like, look, these fast-ass girls chasing you. But it was, like, peak 90s fashion. The big, flashy Jordan jumpsuits and the kicks. I love the 90s. I love that time. I think also having an older brother who was about the same age as Q and was, like, going through things that were similar to what Q was going through, like trying to figure out what you're going to do for college, recruiting, all of that. Yeah. But then watching this movie when I'm older, I'm like, Q was mad toxic for one in college because you were both on a scholarship. So you knew if she was going to break curfew, she would put her scholarship in jeopardy. But you were okay with her putting her scholarship in jeopardy, but you didn't want to put your scholarship in jeopardy.
Exactly.
Or talking about how, and that was also the early days of the WNBA. So one, it like brought attention to the WNBA, and also we're still seeing the same thing in which WNBA players are not paid a bunch, and so have to go overseas to like supplement their income. Whereas a rookie contract for the NBA is literally like 10 times more than what
Free Brittany Griner.
A seasoned vet would be making. So I don't know. Something about Love and Basketball. Oh, one of my favorite scenes. So Monica's an adult and she had just come back from overseas and now she's like working at the bank with her dad trying to like figure herself out. Yeah. And Q still lives across the street or like is visiting his parents across the street next door to Monica, and he's with his new fiance. And I think it's Tyra Banks' character. She's a flight attendant. They call her a stewardess at the time, but movies times, whatever. And Monica had like run into them outside and she came back in and she's talking to her mom in the kitchen. Her mom is baking a pie. And basically she's, I think in this moment, like being a little vulnerable and telling her mom, like, I still have this like deep love for this man, but now he's about to get married. Like, what do I do?
So what do I do? Find out where they're registered and send them a gift. What up? Is that still your answer to everything?
Yeah, when you come at me with bullshit like that.
Oh, no. Are they cursing their mamas in Spain? You didn't want my opinion. I don't even know why you asked.
Like, you want me to tell you to go beat up the girl? Like, go have sex with him? Like, I don't know what you want me to do.
Right.
And in that moment, I think was a confrontation that they needed to have, but like was not done with a lot of love and care just because they're both functioning from this like traumatized place. Monica basically wanted her mom to, okay, real quick, for the person who may not have seen Love and Basketball yet, we're talking about this like y'all know what this movie's about. The movie's about this young girl named Monica, and it basically like is a coming of age story. So it follows her from the time she's a young girl and she moves into a new neighborhood and she befriends the boy next door, and they have this like love story, and they eventually end up together, even though there's a whole bunch of shit that happened in the middle. Okay, anyway, so she goes back to her mom and she's like, you never cared about anything that I was doing. Like, I wanted you to come to games. And Monica's mom was like, girl, you never cared if I came to your game or not. Like, whatever. And Monica's like, nah, bro, like, you're my mother. I cared. And this was an interesting piece as an adult. So Monica talks about this time where the mom had spent like 4 hours making a dinner, and her and the dad must have gotten their wires crossed, and the dad walked in with a couple of pizzas. So rather than like putting the pizzas away and be like, okay, this pizza, we can just reheat this and eat this tomorrow. Right. They like scratched the 4-hour dinner and ate the pizza. And Monica literally looked at her mom and she's like, you never stood up for yourself. So the beef was Monica being this very bold, very vocal child, like the mom being a little more timid in her presentation. I guess what a typical housewife would have been expected to do, kind of keep quiet, keep the house. Monica took that as her mom being a doormat. And so they never saw eye to eye. Now, obviously, Alfre Woodard, a queen, she needs and deserves way more flowers
every time
than she gets.
Every time.
I think she played this role really well because a lot of times in Black household, like the women are expected to just take, right? We're supposed to just deal. We're not really supposed to have emotions. And then when you get an outspoken child, if you're not necessarily outspoken, like you don't know what to do with that outspoken child. And so there's this just beef that happens. And I think that speaks to a lot of mother-daughter relationships in which us as daughters like see what our mothers go through and we're like, I'm not finna go through that. So I'm going to build a life in which I don't have to function in that way. And mothers not being able to maybe build that life for themselves, I think sometimes you tend to have unintended resentment like on both ways, but we don't create avenues for us to talk. So I think Love and Basketball as I got older like really helped me understand that like my mom has a life outside of being my mom. And dudes ain't shit.
Like, dudes ain't shit.
Dudes ain't shit. You mean Monica had to go through all of that and eventually did. Like, she's the one who made it to the league, right? Like, she's the one, and he ended up being like, oh, I'm gonna take care of the kid because they had this adorable ass little baby at the end, which obviously was like not their baby, but whoever that baby is, you were an adorable ass little baby in that movie. But it's like, okay, yeah, the whole thing worked out and it was like a happily ever after. But like, why was Monica the one who had to go through like the most amount of shit emotionally to get her happy ending? So it's like, black women, do you have to struggle to get the happy ending? And like making it okay to struggle to get the happy, like,
It's just been that for, and I'm not okaying that, but the idea that, you know, well, in order to get the, like, you got to struggle. You got to be on the grind, nose to the grindstone at all times until you get to the, and like grind. You got to work. It's going to be hard. You got to struggle. And it's like, I mean, sure, I understand working hard, but do I really have to go through
all
trauma to get, like, plenty of people are successful without trauma. I don't understand. Like, why do I have to put, so that I can say that I did it? No, I'm fine saying I did it without that shit.
Without all the trauma. Without it. Yeah,
the fuck?
No.
Like, where's my rich white parent with, like, gives me a loan, started in the garage, and Microsoft. So, you know, or was it Apple? Who got the? I mean, so many got loans to start in the garage.
The daddies,
like all of them.
Yeah, but I love the one-liners in Love and Basketball, like when Monica's mom was like, "Oh, they cursing their mamas out in Spain," or I know one I say all the time, right? I mean, granted, she then smacked her afterwards because she was like, you know, whatever. But also the one that I like to say a lot is, "Who shot John and forgot to kill him?" When Monica
Who shot John, which of course we heard in you can hear it most recently in Abbott Elementary.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Looking like who shot John.
It's a very classic phrase.
Absolutely.
Monica walks in from like a or she's either going to a basketball game or they're like sitting at dinner. She's in high school. And she walks in and she has her hair in a ponytail, which most lady basketball players put their hair in a goddamn ponytail because you are sweaty. You got to practice a bunch of times a week, and you got a game. Anybody trying to do their hair every day? So she walks in with like her hair in a ponytail, and the mom is like mumbling. She's like, I don't know why you want to do something with your hair, walking around like,
Who shot John and forgot to kill him?
who shot John and forgot to kill him? She cracks me up.
What was the
every time.
don't even don't even trip mama, she just mad because she bow-legged.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So
If you haven't seen
basically,
Love
we
and
have
Basketball-
discovered. Yeah, no. You have to watch it.
You gotta watch it.
Take this as if you don't have anything to do in the weekend that this episode comes out,
Straight up.
I highly suggest you watching these movies. Grab some popcorn.
Yeah.
Who knows? By the time this comes out, Seattle would be plunged deep back into winter, fall. So,
Yeah, who knows?
okay, Bad Boys.
Bad Boys.
I'm a bad boy. Bad boys. What you gonna do?
I mean, we're talking about like peak Will Smith, with peak Martin Lawrence. I mean,
Peak
just
shirtless Will Smith.
peak shirt. Like you had a shirtless Will. That man had a plan for his Hollywood career, and
100%. He was like, I am about to be a heartthrob.
He executed.
He did. I think that's the most like badass that I've seen Will Smith. Because Will Smith now badass.
Bad Boys Will Smith, Independence Day Will Smith.
But I count those as the same kind because
That's what I'm saying, though.
Around,
They- oh, so you're saying
I
that era.
That era.
Yeah,
I like
yeah,
that
yeah,
era of
yeah.
Will Smith the best because even like he was good in Gemini Man for what
Sure,
it was.
sure, for
but
what it
there's
was.
a different swagger he had when he was young.
Oh yeah.
He was definitely Will from film.
He knew he
like,
had
in those. Yeah, he knew he
It was
had
another,
this
and maybe so. That's another film that I'm just like, yeah, it's about a black man who knew he had it.
Who knew he had it? Because the car he drove, the
Yeah.
swagger, the clothes
Yeah.
he wore.
He was a cop for funsies.
He was. He was. He wasn't like, I'm trying to make my community better. He was
Right,
like, bitch,
no.
I look good. Okay?
But he did care, and that,
He did.
that was the thing. So
did.
before we get into it, so Bad Boys is a
Bad Boys
buddy
1.
cop. Bad Boys 1, yeah, because there's 3 of them, plus a spinoff. There, you don't know about spinoff?
Oh, yeah, the one with
With
Gabrielle
Gabrielle
Union
Union and Jessica Alba. Yeah,
Did not watch this.
which only went, I think, 2 seasons.
Yeah. I'm sure it was good.
But it got a little surge because I think it came out on Netflix, which that's where things go to be like, maybe if we send it to Netflix.
Where things go to die.
No, it's actually where some things, because what was that show? All American on the CW?
Oh,
They
you're
were
right,
facing
you're right.
cancellation.
You're right, you're right.
And they got seasons. I
Well,
think the same
hopefully
thing happened
Netflix
with.
keeps doing that because Netflix, you need help right now.
Boy, that's another episode for another day.
Yeah, okay. Buddy
But
cop movie.
but yeah, so Bad Boys, it's your buddy cop action comedy, starring 2 of the biggest at the time, Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, iconic characters, and it's drugs. Like they're part of their department.
They're in Miami.
In Miami, they do drug. Like they picked, like the location was hot, like the actors were hot, the action was hot, the music was hot. Like it was, like everybody knew what they're, because it was Mr. I'ma blow up every goddamn thing every time I make a movie.
Michael Bay.
And like everything has to explode.
Yo, there was so many explosions and shootouts, and every single, like, everything led to a shootout.
Even like
Everything led
shooting
to-
into a wall had to be an explosion of the wall
Why were you,
hole or whatever.
So
like,
was it the wall or was it the bullets? I have questions. Like, did I use the wrong plaster
what
on
kind
my
of wall
wall?
is this? Like, is this past inspection? Like, I
For
don't
real,
understand.
is there gunpowder in the wall? Because why? What is happening? This is a regular ass 9mm. Why is it exploding?
And they're friends. They're friends. We
Besties.
got friends that they're the besties, you know what I mean? And they're definitely, they're different. The Marcus and my fucking Mike Lowry, Marcus Burnett. Marcus Burnett is married. He's got kids, he's settled down. And
He's like,
and
this is a
Mike,
job for me.
you're right.
This
Right.
is, I need
Yeah.
to pay daycare.
I don't have no trust fund.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is what he always, tended to tell Mike. But the thing is that Mike actually cared about the job. Like he cared about like what he did. He cared about, busting crime, I guess. What did they say? So I don't know what the terms are for cops. But
That is true. Like, what do
he
you call
cared
it?
about the shit.
Crime busting?
yeah, like I care about
Taking down the bad
saving
guys.
people. or whatever. And so the movie is just about these two cops that are also best friends, and they, you get a little glimpse into their personal life, and then you see them, take down like some drug kingpins and just do it in a really big way. Because Taya Leone, who was in it, she saw a murder and she needs to now be protected. And in the midst of that, they're also trying to find the guy who she saw, murder her best friend, a black woman. And
Because death.
But yeah, it was a huge movie, and for me, what it did was, that whole representation matters thing, and it was just nice to see a film that was as big as the others make it in that way, and it feature people who look like me, and then not only that, but feature two leading actors who were kind of vastly different, and just be able to just visualizing things along that spectrum of, all those possibilities. And also it was funny, having the two of them in that banter. I mean, this is a movie that had a lot of improvisation, because I think Michael Bay, he wasn't a huge fan of the script. So he would be like, hey, just do the thing. So what was it? The store clerk at the beginning, he was like, freeze, mother bitches.
Yeah.
And then he was like, no, you freeze, bitch.
Now back up, put the gun down, and give me a pack of tropical fruit bubblicious.
And some Skittles.
Skittles.
And that was improvised.
So what is like your favorite part, or is there a favorite scene?
It really
in
is
Bad
just
Boys?
the general banter. I mean, you really can't beat the full-on sprint slow-mo Will Smith shirt.
Yep.
Just
when he's in that the black shirt, the black shirt that's floating in the wind, he got the jeans and he's booking it down. I was like, go Will.
On top of cars, sliding
jumping,
over this way. It was
sliding, yep.
let's go. Let me get outside and practice.
Only time I've ever rooted for a cop.
I don't got a button up like that. I mean, I got this polo. It's a t-shirt.
I cut it down the middle.
But I'm gonna just lift it up on this side and hold it
and run.
I'm gonna run in slow motion. And yeah, because that was also the thing. There was nobody recording that, so you just had to be outside running.
Yep, pretending.
Just pretending.
Dodging fake bullets.
Just pretending. While people were walking normally past you. Y'all little nigglets saw Bad Boys, didn't you?
You sure did.
Yeah.
Little Mike Lowry running through the neighborhood.
But also the banter. The banter was really
was
good.
the best part.
The banter was great. They went to try and sneak into the house, and or they were trying to get. They went to the one house, investigating, and
Don't be alarmed, we're Negroes.
and dude was like, no, it's too much bass in your voice. You're gonna scare the white people. We were wondering if we could borrow some sugar, but that's real though, because people just with tone, and we had a previous episode on it, and tone matters to folks that. I mean, tone matters regardless, but
tone matters differently when you have different demographics.
Exactly when the demographics are involved. Wusa. I mean, everybody knows Wusa.
Oh, the Wusa.
Everybody knows Wusa.
You know what? Sometimes I do mix Bad Boys 1 and Bad Boys 2, because I love Bad Boys 1 because it set the stage.
Yeah.
But for me, Bad Boys 2 is my favorite.
Two was a sequel that was better than the original.
Yeah. I liked, but also I think the swagger that Mike had in the first one, I like more than the swagger he had in the second and the third.
It was a little bit more settled down, a little bit more toned down.
Yeah, he felt grittier in the first one. But yes, I love the camaraderie, the buddy comedy piece of it. And also, I love that they were authentic to the way Black people are friends.
Yes.
Because we do make fun of each other a lot. We bag on each other a lot. But then as soon as somebody else starts, hey, you can't talk to him like that. What's the matter with you? Because
they were going through it. And then Mike came over to Marcus's place, and because his daughter was about to go out for on a date, and they
Is that not the second one?
Was it the second one? Shit, hold on.
With that tall, skinny,
with the tall dude like Reggie, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was the second one.
Was that the second one? Maybe.
I think Mike's what's his name? Marcus's kids were
little.
little.
Because she was older.
Yeah, they were little because she was going to prom in the second. That's what I'm saying. The first one and the second one, I mix them.
They blend
a lot, and I don't know why I mix them a lot. I think I forget most of the first one, and I remember the second one more because I think I was older when I saw the second one, and I've seen the second one more. So but needless to say, I like that they closed off the Bad Boys story, even though the third one wasn't necessary.
Oh, you think they closed it off? Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you know what? Honestly, I know that they had they did have intention of continuing because at the end of the third one, how
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
the kid who was his son or some shit.
His son with the bag lady.
There was intention of like continuing through him, but
Don't he gotta go to jail for Matt Law?
well, nah, because it was one of those situations where it's like you can work off your jail time if you work for us
right,
type
right,
of situations.
right.
And but I don't, given Will Smith's current year that he's having, I don't know what they're gonna end up doing. So yeah, it's good.
I hope he invested his money well. 'Cause
Yeah.
my boy
I'm sure-
is
I'm
gonna
sure
be.
he
I mean,
did.
he should fine. I mean, also, it's
But
not like
he
he's the
should
only
be
person
fine.
in his family who's making money.
Right, exactly.
Like, you better fall back on Jada. Better be a supportive man, like you say
I
you
don't
are.
even know if he should do that.
You know what? I'm just gonna exit myself out of the Will Smith conversation.
Yeah, we should all just
nah,
whenever he comes
you
up,
and your
just
family, you and your family do whatever you guys feel is best for you and your family.
Maybe they could fall back on Jaden and Willow. Like that's
Willow is problematic also. She has gotten into some hot water for using and appropriating practices from Hinduism, I believe, and
shit.
parts of Buddhism.
I had no idea.
Like some of the songs and audio she's used were recognized as like prayers
yeah.
and stuff. And like, I think some of the artwork that she has used, like she's gotten in some hot water with definitely the like Buddhist and Hindu community.
Got you. Okay.
So far, the only one that I haven't heard nothing about is Will Smith's oldest.
The oldest son, yeah, the one
Trey.
one who just be off. I'm just over here.
DJing somewhere. Yeah, no, that's the
Yeah.
only one that I haven't heard nothing about. I mean, Jaden
Yeah.
Smith, I think, does a lot of really good work as far as like community-based stuff, especially like
does, with
his
that
water
water.
projects.
Yeah.
And how he's trying to bring attention to like sustainable clothing and such. So yeah, I would say like Jaden and Trey are probably the ones who are going to salvage the Smith family.
And Jaden got a mean little moonwalk. I seen
He sure does. He's a really good. I forget how good of a dancer he is.
he
When he
knocks
was
it
still
out.
running around with Justin Bieber after Karate Kid, like he would do his dance moves a little more. You remember?
Yeah.
JB,
Yeah.
I can handle it. What's up? What's up? You can handle it. I was like, go ahead with your little high voice.
Little Disney looking ass.
For real. And then became a smooth ass rapper.
Oh, that's like he came into that though.
Yeah, he did.
Because it like in the beginning it was like Donald Glover in the beginning. It was like okay, I mean sure, yeah, all right.
Yeah, you got a little bar here and there.
It would
And all of
appear
a
that you
sudden,
have the resources to do the thing, and
he got to like 15, 16. I was like, okay, not you putting a syntax together.
Right.
So go ahead. Yeah, I love Bad Boys. I think also
Bad
one of
Boys
the
is
things I love about Bad Boys is one, naturally, I shouldn't say naturally because you shouldn't assume that, but I do like blow up movies. I like bad action movies because I'm not really here for the plot.
Sure.
I'm here to like watch things blow up.
Yeah.
Right? But Bad Boys gave me like Blackness and things blowing up.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Blackness
And I was
and
like,
blow up.
yeah, it was like, this is perfect. And I'm not saying like Bad Boys was like a bad action movie. It was a decent
not.
action movie.
I mean, it was
the first one.
Yeah, it was. Okay.
Yeah,
it was okay. let's be like now. My adult, I'm like, hey,
Let's be real.
It was fine.
Yeah, like it was a decent action movie. Like I would put it on right now and just watch it while I'm doing stuff in
Absolutely.
the background or whatever, and
Absolutely.
like pause at certain moments, do the whole dad thing, and just like stand there with my arms on my hips and watch something for like 20 minutes and not sit down, and then like go off and do something. Like
Yeah, we all
I
got those
would
movies.
put Bad Boys in that category.
Yeah.
Bad Boys 2 for sure. Like there's definitely one-liners I pull.
Bad Boys 2 is better.
Yeah, I
for
definitely
sure.
pull one-liners off of Bad Boys 2.
Okay, good shit. We got one more film though, which would be Soul Food, which might possibly be, I don't know, of all the ones that we mentioned so far, it just might be the one that has had the, well, Bad Boys because it was the big blockbuster, but as far as like culture reach, Soul Food might be.
Soul
that
Food might
one.
be up there out of the ones.
Soul
Yeah,
Food is up there.
I would definitely say Soul Food, Boomerang, Love and Basketball would be up there as far as like cultural specific
Yeah.
ones. And then Bad Boys is more accessible to the larger.
It was accessible is a good word for it. Yeah.
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 Yeah. And Anyway.
Tell me about Soul Food.
Okay, so Soul Food. Soul Food was a story about a family. I don't remember what city they lived in, which is kind of bad, but it gave like New York, Chicago-ish vibes. And a little boy named Ahmad is
Two very different cities.
they are.
It's like they gave very
Basically,
New York,
the vibe
Chicago.
I'm talking about is black. Okay, it gives a black vibe, and those are the two blackest cities I could think of. There you go. So, it's about a family, and there's the matriarch of the family, Big Mama, and then the story is being narrated by one of the kids. Big Mama's, I guess, first grandson,
Right,
Ahmad.
yeah.
Pause real quick. One, Ahmad should have never been telling the story because Ahmad should never have been in anybody's business
He
this
shouldn't
much
have
to
been
be
like
able
that.
to narrate.
But that
with
was
it.
some only child shit.
True. Wait, no, didn't Ahmad have a little sister?
Did he?
He had a little sister. But needless to say, I think they were the only like young kids in the family at the time because Bird was pregnant.
But and they were also so far apart. In
Yeah.
years.
So it's like he was the only child for a while. You're right.
Yeah,
He was the only
yeah,
child for a
yeah.
while. And so he knew everybody's business. So Ahmad is basically narrating a period in time in which Big Mama gets sick due to diabetes, which we
Due to
all know
diabetes.
that older Black folks, because of the foods that we had access to, a lot of them have a lot of health issues. So Big
Yeah.
Mama had diabetes and she had to get like her leg amputated or something. And she didn't want to get her leg amputated. And it was a whole thing. And so every Sunday they have Sunday dinners. Like a lot of Black families do. They do Sunday dinners. At the Sunday dinners, all sorts of shit will pop off. So this time around, basically, they were talking about trying to sell the house to pay for Big Mama's bills. There's three
Right.
sisters. There's Terry, who's the oldest, and then Maxine, who's the middle, and then Bird, who's the youngest.
Yep.
Terry, who was played by,
That was Vanessa Williams.
and then we had Maxine, who was played by,
Vivica A. Fox.
and then we have Bird, who was played by.
Nia Long. Hold on 1 second. Moment of silence appreciation for Nia Long.
110%. Because my gosh, she just keeps getting better with age.
Her and Regina
King or Hall?
no Hall.
Oh,
Regina
yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Those two do not get enough just dues as like Hollywood hotties.
I don't want it to
110%.
be where like the time comes and you know they pass and then it's like, oh, Regina Hall and no, bro, right
We're
now.
gonna pause real quick and give you your
Right
flowers.
now.
And that's not to say that Vivica A. Fox and Vanessa Williams were not
Not at all.
also gorgeous women. I just see them as like y'all are regally beautiful.
Yeah.
Nia Long and Regina Hall is like, you know what? I'm in a committed relationship, but if I wasn't, and if you also played for my team.
Oh man.
Anyway,
and we were on a long flight ride to somewhere that the flight was 11 hours, and all we had was time and opportunity, space between us. Yeah,
respectfully. Because you are also all in committed relationships.
Yeah.
But if this was another timeline, if the multiverse brought us to a different time and a different place, yes. Anyway, so Soul Food basically, as a kid watching it, it was like, oh, this is what a typical Black family goes through because the director based the movie or the writer based the movie on his own like family dealings. When we were young, I feel like we were made to think that Terry was the bad guy because the family would always ask Terry for money and Terry would always talk about her money and that kind of thing. Now that I'm older, Terry absolutely was not the bad guy.
Yeah.
Case in point. First point. Terry was dating Kenny, who ended up marrying Maxine, her little sister. They had been in a committed relationship, and it's not like they were mad young or whatever. They were in a committed relationship. Then one day, Kenny cheats on her with Maxine. Not only does he cheat on her with Maxine, they end up getting married and having a baby. And so every Sunday dinner, I got to look at this man who cheated on me with my sister. And I love my nephew, but also I might have been your mom at some point. That shit is wild. There's a scene in it where somebody's asking her for money and she goes, yeah, because y'all think I'm the ATM.
Automatically
Terry's money. And I was like, bitch. Because she's supposed to pay for like Bird's wedding to Lim, who that whole situation was problematic. She also was supposed to help put up money for Bird to start up her salon. And then when Big Mama got sick and ended up passing, she was like, well, let's sell the house so that we all could get. And they were like, you want to sell the house? I can't believe you want to sell the house. It's like, well, y'all bitches always asking me for money. Like, if we sell the house, then everybody would have
Everybody gets a little
money.
something. Yeah.
So, yeah. But on like the flip side, I wonder if that also then, I don't know, because there were parts of it that were like really sweet. Like at the wedding, when Bird and Lim got married, and then that one like hoochie mama ass girl started dancing with Lim, and Bird like storms off, and the sisters storm off, and they're like, "Well, you know how you want to handle this, Bird, because this ride or die. Like I may be pregnant, but like I still could, get down with the get down." Because I think at that time, Maxine was pregnant with Ahmad's little sister.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
so she was like, "How you want to do this? We could throw blows." The three sisters would like regulators mount
coming
up.
all the way
They went
off.
outside, and then Big Mama was dancing with Lim and like diffused the situation. So it's like in those situations, you really understand the importance of like the family structure, the family
and
unit,
sisterhood and
all of that. And then in the same vein, Fuck the family. The family fucked my husband. I invited the family to my
That was
house,
the
and the family
line.
fucked
the
my
family
husband.
fucked my husband. Like,
But also for me, before that, it's the line "fuck the family."
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
y'all
yeah.
had been so shitty to Terry over and over again, and even Faith. Remember, nobody wanted Faith at their house.
Right.
They pawned Faith off onto Terry.
Right.
Because Terry and her husband were successful. They had money. They were also like mad at Terry for not supporting Miles, her husband, with his music career.
Right,
She was like, "It's
right,
not that I'm
right.
not supporting you, my boy. It's like, how are we going to support ourselves while you're going off and living a dream when I can't even go off and live
right.
the dream?"
I can't even live my own dream.
Then at the next family dinner after Faith and Miles do the thing, they're like, "Yeah, we finna invite Faith to family dinner." Like, just bitch, wait a minute, this girl just cheated. It's bad enough Miles is at family dinner. Like, y'all supposed to be down for me as your
Right.
sister, and y'all
Right.
over here like, well, I mean, Faith ain't got no other family out here, so like, we should just have her at family dinner. So not only do I got to look at Kenny's punk ass every time I come to family dinner, now you want me to look at Faith. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that like it for me, soul food speaks to the ways that family is used as an excuse to treat you badly and to like not respect your boundaries.
Sure.
Because it's like, but I'm your brother.
Right.
But I'm
We
your
family,
sister.
though.
But that's your cousin. But that's blood.
It don't count.
Right. It's like abuse doesn't count as abuse because this person is related to you by blood.
Yeah. This ain't abuse, it's family.
Yeah. So like soul food as an adult watching it, I'm like,
Yeah.
this is bad. And then let's not even talk about the uncle. The uncle who was upstairs
Bro.
in the attic with the TV full of money. Like, first of all, how did you get that much money
Where
into
did
the
you
TV?
get it from? And then,
Yeah, where
well,
did-
you had to take. I mean, clearly, probably just because they always had like the screws on the top, and you just had to take them apart, and you just had them in there. But TV falls. There's money.
And then all of a sudden, it's like the problems are fixed, but we're not going to
Yeah.
acknowledge that we have been doing Terry dirty for like 30 years.
Nah.
But needless to say,
'cause
I
family.
love that movie because it reminds me of how important boundaries are with family. Also, nah, dead ass.
That's
like,
it. No, that's. I mean, it's
because everybody's
that
like,
simple.
"Oh, blood's thicker than water," you know. And I'm like, yeah, and that means blood will drown you faster. So fuck the family. The family fucked my husband. Like, she picked up that knife and she went after Miles.
quick too. Quick. Yeah.
And also, it's like I don't like how like not angry the family was. Like y'all weren't angry enough for me at Miles cheating on Terry.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, Kenny, you should have turned around and punched Miles right there. Especially because you were cheated. Oh, well, never mind. Kenny cheated on Terry. So everybody's like,
Damn. Pass the chicken.
there's a whole dance party happening in the back with like the lights off, the furniture moved. There's a dance floor, and Terry's in there trying to get a little moments of peace, drinking a little wine.
Bruh.
All y'all come in here being like, Terry, you got to come outside and like be with the family.
Terry was doing exactly what because I mean, first off, let's talk about the fact that she, of course, didn't even want to be there.
Didn't want to be there.
Didn't want to be there. So then, you show up to the thing and it was like, all right, I'm here, but I'm going to be here how I can be here, how I need to be here. And that is away from every single one of you. Like, I don't even need to know. I don't even want to acknowledge the fact that y'all are still breathing. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to do what I'm doing in another room. Don't come for me. Don't look for me. I'm just sipping.
I ain't sending for you.
Don't come for me unless I send for you.
And
There
they
it is.
came anyway.
They came anyway.
Like white people.
You call us? No?
Yo!
You say something?
I'm just gonna scooch right in here. Just gonna scooch. Well, hey guys, what are we doing?
Jesus.
Yeah. So anyway, we highly suggest that you watch these movies
Yeah, man.
because
Bad Boys, Loving Basketball, Soul Food, and
Boomerang.
Boomerang. Great movies that all have their, different problematic flares. And but at the time,
problematic flares.
the problematic
that's a good-
flair.
I like that.
But at the time, we're just it was such representation vibes that was
And,
more,
like, to
that was
be
more
fair,
important.
Soul Food definitely told the story of like a typical black family, right?
Absolutely.
And like Bad Boys told the story, in addition of like all the shoot 'em up stuff, of like a typical
Black
friendship
friendship, yeah.
between two dudes. So it was Boomerang. Boomerang was like, yeah, we do these really amazing jobs. And also, like, this is just us as humans, like,
Black success
navigating
and blackness, navigate
stuff.
Yep,
Love and Basketball
and-
was, two traumatized people, because like Q's parents were super emotionally abusive to each
Right.
other. So he would use Monica as a way to like escape, right?
Yeah.
And then Monica falls. So it's like all of these are just different ways in which Black people have had to handle trauma without a lot of like help, right? Whether it's communication, trust, whatever the issue happens to be, a lot of it is just like examples of Black people doing the best that they could with what they had. And so as an adult, like watching it with like therapy eyes, I'm like, oh, you guys were all just like hurt, traumatized people that needed somebody. Oh, I wish I could send G back.
You
and
had
just be like,
PTSD.
G.
You had codependency issues.
Right.
You don't really know. You were narcissist. You were like all kind of stuff. Yeah. So
Damn, G, we need to talk. You guys
Just art imitating
you gotta
life.
go back to these 4 movies and
shout out Jeremy to G. Like we need to talk,
talk
man.
them out.
Bro, call me, please.
For real. Yeah. But hopefully this episode gives you a little reprieve from whatever hardship and BS you're going to be listening to, dealing with when this episode comes out. As always, like the great Andre 3000 said, keep your heart 3 stacks. Keep your heart. Play your part. Play your part.
Thank you for listening to Battle Fatigue. Our show is produced by the folks over at Large Media. That's LARJ Media. Special thanks to the team at Good Juju for brand design and Roger Habone for theme song production. You can find other episodes of Battle Fatigue wherever you get your podcasts. Also, for updates and more, be sure to follow us on social media at Battle Fatigue PC. Thanks again for listening.